Hello there friends. In the previous video we have discussed about plane mirrors and how the property of light, that is reflection, occurs in the case of plane mirrors, right? Now in this video we'll discuss about the reflection of light in the case of spherical mirrors, and we'll also discuss what exactly is a spherical mirror and how is it made. Now some of the examples of spherical mirrors that you see in your daily life are the rear view mirrors that are used in the scooters and cars, and it is also used in automobile headlights, and the torch lights that you see, they are also using the spherical mirrors. Now these are some of the examples of spherical mirrors that you can see in your daily life. So these spherical mirrors are a special type of curved mirrors in which the surface of the mirror is a section of the complete sphere. So if I take a hollow complete sphere, then if you take a section out of it, if you cut a part of it, then it has two dissimilar surfaces, right? So one side is bulged outside and the other side is bulged inside. So these two surfaces form the reflecting surface for the spherical mirrors. So how are these spherical mirrors exactly made? Well, if you remember in our previous video, we discussed about the plane mirrors, right? In that case, what we have done is, if we take a plain glass and when we coat it with silver on one side, then the other side becomes the reflecting surface for the plane mirror. Now same is the case for spherical mirrors also. Now as we have cut a portion from the complete sphere, as you can see, then there are two surfaces here, right? One is the bulged inside surface and the other one is the surface which is bulged outside. So the case where it is bulged inside is known as the concave surface, and in the case where the bulge is outside is known as the convex surface. So this portion of the complete sphere that we see, if you coat it with silver on the concave surface and if you polish the convex surface, then this becomes a convex mirror. And on the other hand, if you coat it with silver on the convex surface and polish the concave surface, then this becomes a concave mirror. So these are the two types of mirrors. One is the convex mirror and one is the concave mirror. So light, when it enters through these spherical mirrors, what happens is it enters the glass first and then it gets reflected at the silvered surface. Same is the case where we have discussed the plane mirror, right? It enters through the glass and then it gets reflected at the silvered surface. Now again remember here, in the case of plane mirror, we have considered the thickness of the plane glass to be one single line, right? Now same is the case for spherical mirror also. To solve problems and to avoid any confusion, what we do is we neglect the thickness of the spherical mirror glass and we take it as a single line curved surface. Alright, at this instant I can understand what's going on in your mind. What is all this bulging outside and bulging inside? It's very complicated to understand at one go. Alright, let me just give you a simpler and a layman way to remember all these things. Take the example of a spoon. And what do we do with a spoon? We use it to eat our food, right? So the side with which we eat our food or collect our food is bulged inside, right? So this acts as a concave mirror. Remember that. The side with which we collect our food is the concave side. And the side which is behind this is bulged outside, right? So this acts as a convex side. Wasn't that simple and easy to remember? Alright. Now before we move any further in the discussion of the spherical mirrors, we need to first understand few terms which are basically used when light interacts with the spherical mirrors. So why don't we just go ahead and learn all those terminologies in order to understand the various things that are involved in this light interaction with the spherical mirrors. So let's start with the first one. The center of the spherical mirror is known as the pole, and the center of the sphere of which the spherical mirror is a part is known as the center of curvature. Now the distance between the pole and the center of curvature is known as the radius of curvature. So as you can see here, it is very clear that the center of curvature in the case of a concave mirror is in front of it, and in the case of the convex mirror, it lies behind that convex mirror. And the third thing that we need to know about is the principal axis. Now this principal axis is nothing but where it passes through the center of the spherical mirror, which is nothing but the pole, and the center of curvature also lies on this principal axis. So all these 2 points lie on this principal axis which is passing through the center of the spherical mirror. Now this principal axis is very much needed because we need to know at what angle is the light incidenting onto that spherical mirror. And the fourth one that we need to know about is the aperture size of the spherical mirror. Now the aperture size of the spherical mirror is nothing but, if we take this as the spherical mirror, then the line joining the two endpoints of that spherical mirror is known as the aperture size. Or you can see the diameter of that spherical mirror is the aperture size of the particular spherical mirror. So let's say if the aperture size is given to us as 2 centimeters, then it would mean that the diameter of its boundary of that particular spherical mirror is 2 centimeters. Alright. Now the next thing that we have to know is about the focus of the spherical mirror or the focal point of the spherical mirror. Now how do we define this? Well, it's very simple. Look at this. If the incoming rays are parallel to the principal axis, then they either converge to a point or appear to diverge from a point after reflection. And this point is known as the focal point of that particular spherical mirror. Now the distance between the focal point or the focus from the pole is known as the focal length. And here the important thing that you have to know is the radius of curvature, that is the distance between the center of curvature and the pole, and the focal length, that is the distance between the focus and the pole. These two have a relation in between them. And what is that? Well, that is nothing but F is equal to R by 2. So this was all about the spherical mirrors and the different kinds of spherical mirrors that can be formed. And we also learned about the hidden parameters that come when light interacts with the spherical mirrors. In the next video, let's put this knowledge to use and see how the spherical mirrors form different kinds of images. For now, let's summarize what we have learned. So we have learned that the reflecting surface which is bulged outside is known as the convex mirror, and the reflecting surface which is bulged inside is known as the concave mirror. The center point of the spherical mirror is known as the pole, and the center point of the sphere of which the spherical mirror is a part is known as the center of curvature. The line joining the center of curvature and the pole is known as the principal axis. And the other thing that we have learned is the aperture size. It is nothing but the diameter of the boundary of the spherical mirror. The point where the parallel rays meet or appear to meet after reflection is known as the focus.